Thank you for visiting the Combs Watercutty website and our Insurance Fraud Defense Lawyer in Missouri website page. Regardless of the crime, we believe everyone is entitled to the best possible legal defense in the state of Missouri. We have created this audio version of our website page to help you better understand our services and protect your future, freedom, and reputation. If you have been charged with insurance fraud in the state of Missouri, we can help. Don't face the state and court system alone during your insurance fraud charge. Contact one of our Missouri insurance fraud defense lawyers today at 314-900-HELP to protect your rights and future. Combs Watercutty is committed to handling all insurance fraud defense cases with confidential care and understanding. We are not here to judge you. We believe that everyone in Missouri, regardless of the crime they have been charged with, deserves an aggressive legal defense and to have their legal rights protected. With that being said, let's discuss hiring our insurance fraud defense lawyers in Missouri and setting up a free consultation with our attorneys. Insurance fraud defense lawyers in Missouri. If you're being investigated for or charged with insurance fraud in Missouri, time is critical. At Combs Watercutty, we provide aggressive, strategic, and discreet defense against all types of insurance fraud allegations because your freedom, future, and reputation are on the line. Insurance fraud lawyer in Missouri. Facing insurance fraud allegations can be daunting. The insurance industry is one of the most heavily regulated industries, both locally and nationally. Whether you're accused of staging an accident, falsifying claims, or exaggerating losses, a conviction could mean prison time, steep fines, and lasting damage to your reputation. At Combs Watercutty, our criminal defense lawyers in Missouri have successfully handled numerous white-collar cases, including high-stakes insurance fraud at both the state and federal level. We don't just defend, we fight back hard to protect your freedom and your future. If you've been accused of insurance fraud, call 314-900-HELP or contact us online now to schedule a free consultation with a Missouri white-collar crimes lawyer. Types of insurance fraud charges. We handle in Missouri. Missouri law covers a wide range of activities that can be prosecuted as insurance fraud. These include auto insurance fraud, staging or exaggerating accidents, falsifying injury claims, or providing false repair estimates, health insurance fraud, submitting false medical bills, billing for services not rendered, or using another person's insurance information, life insurance fraud, faking a death, forging documentation, or misrepresenting health history on a policy application, property insurance fraud, arson for profit, inflated loss claims, or misreporting valuables in homeowners' policies, workers' compensation fraud, faking or exaggerating work-related injuries, or continuing to work while receiving benefits, insurance agent fraud, misappropriation of client funds, ghost policies, or unauthorized policy modifications. What happens when you're accused of insurance fraud in Missouri? When you're accused of insurance fraud in Missouri, the consequences can be swift, serious, and long-lasting. Here's what typically happens and why immediate action is crucial. You may be investigated before you're charged. Insurance companies often initiate internal investigations if they suspect fraud. They may then pass information to the Missouri Department of Insurance, the Missouri Attorney General's Office, or federal agencies such as the FBI, HHS, OIG, or DOJ, depending on the nature of the claim, e.g., health, life, property. You might not even know you're being investigated until agents contact you or you receive a subpoena. Formal charges could be filed. If prosecutors believe they have enough evidence, You could be formally charged with insurance fraud, typically under Missouri Revised Statutes, Section 375.991 for state-level insurance fraud. Federal statutes such as 18 U.S.C. Section 1347, healthcare fraud, or 18 U.S.C. Section 1033/1035, fraud by insurance providers. The charges could be misdemeanors or felonies, depending on the value of the alleged fraud, the type of insurance involved, and whether the claim was paid. You could be arrested or receive a court summons. Depending on the severity of the alleged fraud, you may be arrested or ordered to appear in Missouri or the U.S. District Court in the Eastern District of Missouri. You may be fingerprinted, photographed, and formally arraigned. Your finances and any professional licenses may be frozen or suspended. In some cases, a court may issue a restraining order on assets, freeze bank accounts, or suspend any relevant insurance, medical, or business licenses pending the outcome of the case. A strong insurance fraud defense in Missouri can make a huge difference. Because many fraud cases hinge on intent, an experienced Combs Watercutty insurance fraud defense attorney, depending on the specifics of your case, may be able to argue lack of intent or honest mistake, challenge weak, unlawfully obtained, or circumstantial evidence, investigate overzealous agents or officers, show your actions were authorized, negotiate for reduced charges, diversion, or dismissal. Possible penalties for insurance fraud in Missouri. Under Revised Statutes of Missouri, Section 375.991, insurance fraud can be charged as a felony or misdemeanor depending on the value of the fraud and whether you have prior offenses. Penalties can include Class D felony, up to 7 years in prison, and fines up to $10,000 for fraudulent claims exceeding $750. Class E felony, up to 4 years in prison and fines for lesser fraud amounts. Restitution. Courts may order full repayment of fraudulent gains to victims or insurers. Loss of professional license, especially for insurance professionals or healthcare providers involved in fraud. What evidence is needed to prove insurance fraud in Missouri? To prove insurance fraud in Missouri, prosecutors must present clear, admissible evidence that shows not just that a false claim was made, but that it was done knowingly and with intent to deceive. Whether you're charged at the state or federal level, the government bears the burden of proving each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Here's a breakdown of the types of evidence commonly used to prove insurance fraud in Missouri. 1. False or misleading documentation. This is often the core evidence in insurance fraud cases in Missouri. Examples include inflated or fabricated invoices or repair estimates, falsified medical records or prescriptions, staged accident reports, forged receipts or documentation for stolen property, fake employment or wage loss statements. Second, statements and interviews. Prosecutors may rely on recorded statements made to insurers or investigators, inconsistencies in written or verbal claims, statements made during interviews or depositions, testimony from claims adjusters, doctors, or police officers involved. Note: anything you say, even casually, can and will be used as evidence. That's why it's critical to speak with a lawyer before answering any questions from insurers or investigators. 3. Surveillance footage or photographs. Insurance companies often use private investigators to capture video of an individual performing activities inconsistent with their injury claim, photos of vehicles, homes, or properties alleged to be damaged, evidence that property claimed as stolen is still in your possession. Fourth, digital and electronic records. Increasingly, investigators rely on electronic records to show intent or misrepresentation. Cell phone data showing your location, text or email messages related to the claim, social media posts contradicting the alleged injury or loss, access logs, digital signatures, or app usage. Fifth, expert witness testimony. Specialists may testify about the improbability of the damage or injury as described, medical inconsistencies or billing anomalies, technical proof of claim fabrication, e.g., staged auto collisions, standard industry procedures that were ignored or violated. Sixth, witness statements. Witnesses, such as neighbors, co-workers, or family members, may be called to contradict your version of events, your reported injuries or losses, whether the alleged property damage, theft, or injuries actually occurred. Seventh, insurance policy language. The insurer may also present policy documents to show what was actually covered or excluded, how the claim violated policy terms, whether the claim was submitted in bad faith. 8. Evidence of prior fraudulent activity. Though not always admissible, prosecutors may try to introduce evidence of prior fraudulent claims, suspicious past payouts, a pattern of similar behavior, especially in federal cases. Why this matters. Intent is key. Insurance fraud isn't just about mistakes. It requires proof that you intentionally tried to mislead the insurer. That's why a skilled defense attorney can often argue that the misstatement was unintentional, challenge interpretations of policy terms, suppress improperly obtained evidence, introduce alternative explanations for suspicious activity. Our client-centered approach to insurance fraud defense in Missouri. At Combs Watercutty, we don't treat our clients like case numbers, we treat them like people. We understand that being accused of insurance fraud in Missouri is more than just a legal crisis. It's a threat to your freedom, finances, career, and reputation. That's why we prioritize open, honest, and ongoing communication every step of the way. From your very first consultation, we take the time to listen. We want to understand your goals, your side of the story, and what's at stake for you and your family. Then we tailor our defense strategy accordingly, because no two clients and no two cases are exactly alike. Direct access to your attorney. You won't get passed off to a case manager or left wondering about your case status. We're here when you need us. Regular updates. We keep you informed at every phase of your defense, with clear explanations and proactive case planning. Respect and dignity. We know this is a difficult time. Our job is to guide you through it with professionalism, empathy, and fierce advocacy. When you hire Combs Watercutty, you don't just get legal defense. You get a legal partner who's fully invested in protecting your future. How a Combs Watercutty, Missouri insurance fraud lawyer can help. Allegations of insurance fraud can quickly escalate into criminal investigations with life-altering consequences. Whether you've been accused of submitting false claims, staging accidents, or misrepresenting information, Combs Watercutty is ready to step in. Our team has extensive experience defending clients against insurance fraud charges in both state and federal courts. We use every legal tool available to investigate the facts, dismantle weak evidence, and develop persuasive defenses tailored to your unique case. What can happen if you don't hire Combs Watercutty for insurance fraud charges in Missouri? Longer prison sentences. Without a skilled defense, Penalties can be severe, even for first-time offenders. Heavy fines and restitution. Courts may order substantial financial penalties and repayment of claims. Damaged reputation. A fraud conviction can follow you personally and professionally for life. Inexperienced representation. Relying on a public defender may mean less time and fewer resources for your case. Loss of licenses. Professionals may lose business, insurance, or medical licenses after conviction. Limited defense options. Delaying legal counsel means missed opportunities for case dismissal or reduced charges. Stress and confusion. Navigating a fraud case alone is emotionally and legally overwhelming. No strategic advantage. You lose access to our courtroom-tested strategies and strong relationships in Missouri courts. Why choose the insurance fraud legal team at Combs Watercutty in Missouri? Our insurance fraud attorneys are dedicated to providing fearless, tenacious criminal defense in Missouri. We fight relentlessly to keep your future and freedom intact. When you hire Combs Watercutty, you get proven success in complex white-collar and fraud defense cases. Former prosecutors who know how the other side operates. Detailed, client-focused strategies that prioritize your goals. Decades of combined experience in Missouri and federal courts. Discreet handling of sensitive or high-profile cases.